Good evening, I'm Steve Steinberg. Welcome again to tonight's episode of Dazzle Unlimited. So glad you're here, and I'm very pleased about that. And I've got a special show in store for you this evening, something that I think will be relevant to just about everyone in our viewership and beyond. I'm in Stockholm, Sweden, as we record tonight's show. It's August 19th, 2008, and my special guest with me here is someone who is deeply involved in the whole issue of the world's water supply and the purity of water that's available to some of us, but not all of us on a global basis, and the key issues that are involved in water, something that we in America probably take for granted. I turn on the tap, bottled water, it's delicious, it's fine. Not for everybody. Dr. David Garman, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve.
Glad you're here. Dr. Garman is the president of something called IWA, the International Water Association, based where in Australia is that?
I'm based in
You're based in Australia.
But IWA is worldwide. We have a headquarters in England because we're a British charity. But we have operational centres in The Hague, which is our biggest operational centre, as well as China, Singapore, soon in Nairobi, South America, and some other parts of the Americas soon, we hope, as well. So we now have about something over 10,000 members worldwide, and it's a network of professionals. People who belong are people who want to talk to other water professionals. They want to learn things, exchange ideas, come up with new ideas, and really to say best practice in water supply.
And so with that as the background, here we are at this conference, we're looking at the global issues that are involved. What's your view? What are the key areas in terms of water and sanitation on a global basis that maybe most people are not aware of and that really need to be addressed?
The first key issue is that we are becoming increasingly urbanised. The second one is we're running out of water for food, the way we're going. The third one is that as we use more water, we're reducing the water for the ecosystems. And lastly, the water we are using is coming from poorer and poorer water quality sources. Put all those and put climate change on top of that, and you've got the potential makings of a disaster unless we start rethinking about how we use, how we manage, and how we treat water.
What are the key elements that we should look out for, or hopefully prevent from happening?
In the short term, one of the things we must think about is that we've got to look at water as a renewable resource. Even though of the water which is used in the world, 30% goes for urban use, 70% of it is used for irrigated agriculture. Dryland farming is good in many parts of the world, but we're seeing shifts and changes in climate, which is leading to changes in agriculture. So
you have huge areas of land that are just desolate and nothing can grow?
Well, there's not so much desolate. Things will grow, but they're not going to be the crops that we require we're getting changed ecosystems. If we go to our urban situation, the amount of water which is taken away or used is the amount of water which is less available for other uses. And my big concern is we don't have the right balance at the moment on the way we're going. So that a simple linear use and extrapolation of where we're going isn't feasible in the world we're in. This is made even more complicated by new sources of water, which is desalination, will become more energy intensive. And so we're talking, as energy becomes more expensive, or as we start thinking about carbon caps, then suddenly we are looking at what is the best way of getting new, clean water and making it readily available. So you talked about the water cycle, and sure, when we had 1 or 2 billion people in the world, that was fine. We could cope with that slow, natural purification
Would
process.
that have been around the early 1900s or late 1800s?
Around that time.
And now we have how many billion people on the planet?
So now we have about 8.
8 billion?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, that's a difference. And the total amount of water globally has not changed over that period of time.
This is right.
So there's more of a need and the relatively less of a supply per person, per agricultural unit, whatever it might be.
If we look at figures which are prepared by all the expert organisations around the world, we see that the areas which they put as water critical, as the amount of available fresh water per head, is becoming larger and larger and larger. The whole of CIWI, this time is really talking about water supply, sanitation, and of course our Nobel laureate, or our laureate, this one, is talking about virtual water.
I should just clarify, SIWI, the Stockholm International Water Institute,
Yeah.
which is running this conference we're attending. So.
Yeah. And here we have something which is, whilst a lot of research has been done, has only come to the public focus in the last few years, the last 5 years, I would say. The award by CIWI to Professor Allen has really made this and brought it very much to the front, that whatever we do, whatever we consume, other than straight water, has got a cost. And that cost is in water as well as energy and actual materials.
And this is that so many areas use water that we would never think involve water.
The interesting one, of course, is that there's a water shortage, drink beer. Of course, the paradox is that it takes 6 times as much water to produce 1 litre of beer as it does to produce 1 litre of water.
This is Steve Steinberg speaking. I hope you're getting some value out of tonight's episode of Dazzle Unlimited. Say if you've got comments or suggestions for us, or if you'd like your company to advertise on Dazzle Unlimited, why not drop us an email? The address is dazzle@dazzleunlimited.com. Again, that's dazzle@dazzleunlimited.com. The Dazzle Unlimited television series airs every Wednesday evening in prime time, 8:30 p.m. on Channel 35 of Time Warner Cable of New York City in the southern half of Manhattan. Tune in again. But right now, please stay tuned, because there's more coming up on tonight's Dazzle Unlimited.
Yet increasingly, what we're seeing is, as various changes happen, that what we're doing is seeing that industry is becoming more water sensitive. So we're seeing that they are recycling water. They're separating dirty water and clean water streams. We're seeing that it is, in some cases, becoming cheaper now to retreat that water and reuse it than it is to buy new water. In Europe, for example, you're probably paying, and this is in US terms, probably $5 for 1,000 litres. In the US, you're probably paying somewhere between 60 cents and $2, depending on where you live.